Hello, welcome to the Gleam show. My name is Fadzai and I am your host. I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into this episode, which falls under finance, and the topic is, do I need insurance? What to expect in this episode? I will talk about possibly some three things that make people reconsider insurance, maybe yourself as well as you are watching right now. And then we'll go into talking about the insurance, the life insurance, total and permanent disablement cover. We'll talk about trauma. We'll talk about income protections. Those are the insurances that I'm referring to in this episode. And as you're watching, as you're listening in today, I hope you get better understanding, you get better clarification, and then you make your own decision whether you need insurance. In the same episode as well, I am going to talk about some of the things that you should take note of before you sign off on those insurance offers in order for you not to have issues when it comes to claim time. All right, so let's get straight into it. So three things, maybe you fall into one of these categories that has made you maybe rethink taking up insurance. As I stated, the insurance that I'm referring to in today is life cover, total and permanent disablement cover, income protection, trauma cover. One of the things is it could be the cost itself. You're saying, Fadza, we have so many expenses, but when it comes to insurance, the insurances that I have heard about, they're so expensive. So it could be the cost itself that has made you think, oh, maybe I shouldn't really have insurance. The other second thing, which you might have heard about, is how many people say that insurance is a scam. And this is because of what some of the people have gone through. Some people have taken up insurances for the wrong reasons, and that has made other people say, oh no, I don't think, when somebody comes to me and they talk about life cover, I don't trust them and all the stuff. Another thing is that when it comes to claim time, some insurance providers have not actually paid out due to various reasons, and some of them we will take note of in this episode today. The other third point is beliefs. As you're listening to me right now, maybe you're saying, Fadza, in my beliefs, why should I take up insurance? I've never heard about insurance. Oh, it's just not for me, so therefore I'll not take it up. Or maybe you're saying, Fadza, I do my declarations, I claim good health, I claim all this good stuff. So if I'm taking up insurance, isn't it now going against what I've been claiming? So these are the three things that maybe you fall into one of those categories, and that has made you think, oh, insurance. But anyway, let's continue with the episode, and hopefully you get better understanding. With insurance is supposed to pay out when an insurable event occurs. And in this episode, when I'm referring to the insured, I'm referring to you, the person who has taken up the insurance, who is covered, is you, the insured, okay? So when it comes to insurable events, what are we referring to? So for life cover, we're saying an insurable event is when the insured passes away. So we're saying when you, the person who's taken up insurance, who's covered, pass away, therefore the insurance is paid out to the beneficiaries. That is what is supposed to happen. When it comes to total and permanent disablement cover, we are saying that you, the insured, you are unable to work or continue in your line of work due to an illness or an injury. Therefore, a lump sum is paid out to you. When we are referring to income protection, we are saying you the insured, you are not able to continue with work due to a sickness or an illness or an injury. Therefore, you are paid part of your income. When it comes to trauma cover, this is paid out. This is a lump sum which is paid out when a major illness occurs or a traumatic event occurs. For example, when someone suffers cancer, therefore trauma might be paid out depending on the terms and conditions for that trauma cover, say a major illness. All right, so you are saying, Father, so do I need insurance? My answer to you is insurance is not supposed to better your life, but insurance is supposed to ensure that in the event of an insurable event occurs, you're unable to work, you become sick, you become injured, and you're unable to work, you are able to continue with the same lifestyle that you currently have before suffering an illness or an injury or whatever event that you suffer that is making you unable to work. That is what insurance is there for, to make sure that you continue with your lifestyle. So TPD is paid out, total and permanent disablement is paid out, trauma is paid out, income protection, you start to get payments. So it is, and I will say to you, it is a case by case scenario. Taking out insurances depends upon your personal circumstance, because my circumstance and your circumstance are different. My question to you right now is, if an insurable event occurs, let's make this simpler. If you're unable to work or continue in your line of work, do you have funds readily available that can cover you? Do you have funds readily available that will cover all your other expenses that you have? Well, if you do have funds that are easily available, therefore you would not need insurance. But if you do not have funds that are easily available, and when I say funds that are easily available, are they able to cover your expenses? I have said taking up insurance depends on your personal circumstance, because the expenses that you have, maybe you've got mortgages, maybe you have got children who are going to school and you're paying fees for them. Maybe you've got other rent expenses, you have other expenses, financial obligations. And these financial obligations will still have to be met even when you're unable to work. Therefore, that is how other people sometimes do take up insurance, to ensure that all these mortgages continue to be paid, or the children continue to have their school fees paid. And in saying how much insurance do you need, you would have to consult an insurance broker, financial advisor, or an insurance advisor who can help you to calculate how much insurance cover you need, because they will take into account the mortgage, they will take into account, let's say if you've got children, their ages, where you are expecting to send them to school, how much school fees is needed. They will take that into account considering the number of years. They will take into account other expenses that you have, be it loans, whatever other financial obligations that you have, the interest rates that are attached, and how and the time frame that are expected to pay them off. So they will take that into account when calculating how much total and permanent disablement cover you need, how much income protection you need, how much trauma, all this life cover. They will calculate all the other things that you need, the financial obligations that you have, and to ensure that even when you the insured passes away, your dependents continue with the same lifestyle that they had when you were alive. So that is my question to you. When someone asks me how much insurance I need or do I need insurance, I always say to them, it is a personal circumstance situation. The other thing, as I have stated in this at the beginning of this episode, there are things that you have to take note of so that when it comes to claim time, you do not have issues with insurance providers when they say maybe they are not able to pay out because of what has been stated. So before you sign up on that insurance offer, these are some of the things that you have to take note of. You have to take note of the terms that have been used for your various insurance covers. When they have said it's total and permanent disablement linked, what does that mean? Ask the one whom you have gone through, the insurance provider or the advisor or the broker, what is this referring to? When they have said that it's total and permanent disablement own occupation, what does that mean? When it is any occupation, what does that mean? With own occupation, we are saying your line of work. If you are unable to work in your line of work, own occupation, therefore the total and permanent disablement cover is paid out. With any occupation, they are looking at the skills that you have. Well, are you able to do any other jobs, taking into account the skills that you have? So if whatever job you are doing and then you get injured, but in your skill set you can still use those skills to do other jobs. Any occupation is looking at that and it's like, oh, are you able to do any other jobs? And with that, if you are able to do any other jobs, therefore they will analyze and say, oh, if there are any there from can we pay here? So it is, you have to understand own occupation, any occupation. Own occupation tends to be sometimes more expensive. Any occupation, it depends. So there are various terms that are used when it comes to this insurance. So make sure that you understand what has been listed on there before you sign off on that insurance cover or insurance offer. The other thing, when it comes to income protection, it will have what we call a waiting period. It might have 30 days, 60 days, 90, might have 2 years, depending, because whomever you've taken up insurance with, they might say, oh, you do have funds readily available, so you don't need a lot of income protection. You're able to cover yourself for 2 years in the event that you cannot continue to work for a specific time, and then they'll say, oh yes, so you do have funds that will cover you for 2 years, so therefore maybe we'll take an income protection that has a waiting period of 2 years. And the reasoning behind this as well, they're trying to bring down the cost for the income protection that you're paying for. So you have to understand all those waiting period, because the waiting period, during this waiting period, it has to be satisfied before the insurance company can pay out. So it's 30 days. Let's say for example it's 30 days, you get injured, you still have to satisfy those 30 days before they can actually start to pay out the income protection. So you have to ask whoever you are taking that income protection cover with, what is the waiting period? So how are we going to be covering this waiting period? What do you suggest that I do? And the other thing I should say as well, something to take note of, because sometimes some people might say, oh well, I have income protection waiting period 2 years with this company, and maybe you have another income protection waiting period 30 days with company 1, 2 years is with company X, and you say you're all good and all that stuff. I will say to you, always ask these insurance providers, because when it comes to claim time, one might say maybe they might say, oh, you have another income protection, we are just going to pay you a less amount. Or they will say, oh, you have another income protection, oh, we'll just not pay you out. So you should understand, is it beneficial for you that you have the same insurance cover with two different companies, company X and company Y? Will this be an issue when it comes to claim time? You should ask whoever the provider is that is offering you the insurance, whether you're going through the advisor or the broker. Ask them, let them explain to you, and you should understand, because imagine when it comes to claim time, you've got two insurances and then the other company Y says we're not going to pay out, and then you're only left with company X. That means all the insurance premium that you have been paying for the other through company Y, that was a waste of money. It's money that has just gone, and then people will start saying insurance is a scam because of what they would have experienced. So this is to avoid issues when it comes to claim time. You have to ask. You're seeing these terms, they mean something. They are not just there for that everything is so good. They mean something. Therefore you should ask. You should understand what you are signing up for. The other point I wanted to raise that you should take note of: let's say you get employed by a company, and this company says we are offering you life cover, total and permanent disablement cover, salary continuous or income protection. You should ask, what happens in the event that one leaves the employer? Does the insurance continue or does it cease? Or is there any insurance that falls off? Maybe when you leave that employer, the income protection ceases and you're left with life and TPD. And here you have continued with your journey and you said, oh, I am all covered. I've got life cover, I've got total and permanent disablement cover, I've got income protection, and then it comes to claim time, and then you find out, oh, one, the amounts changed, they are lower. Two, you no longer have income protection. Maybe you only have life cover and total and permanent disablement cover. So it is always important that you ask, if you go through such an employer who offers insurance covers, ask what happens when you cease employment or when you change employers. Ask what happens and what is the expiry date of these insurance covers. So I wanted to inform you, as you are listening, with insurances you have to ask, that you have to read the product and disclosure statements. I know most of us, when we see the product and disclosure statements, we're like, oh wow. It is better to read them and ask in the early stages, so that you do not waste years upon years upon years paying for something that you will not be able to claim for, which is non-refundable. Okay. The other thing I wanted to inform you, as you are watching right now, when you take up insurances, let's say via an insurance broker, a financial planner, insurance advisor, whoever you have taken up insurance with, make sure that you review your insurance covers yearly. This helps with the cost. And sometimes you do not just have to wait yearly. You can also review them when there is a major life event that occurs in your life. Maybe you have a baby, maybe the children have ceased school, they have finished the school. So that means you have to get your insurance covers reviewed. You don't need so much because they are all covered for the school fees. You no longer need that. This will help you in the cost that you tend to pay for your insurances, so that you do not pay more for what you really do not need, and you can actually divert all those funds into investments. You can invest them in something else that gives you return. All right. And the other thing I wanted to inform you as well, which I had almost forgotten, is sometimes when you go through insurance applications and then they look at your medical records and then they see that you have had issues with your left arm, And then when they are offering you insurance, they will say, yes, we are offering you total and permanent disablement cover, but we are putting a left hand exclusion. They are saying that in the event you get injured due to your left hand, as a result of your left hand, they will not pay out the total and permanent disablement cover. So I will say to you, whenever you see that there is an exclusion on your cover, whatever cover it is, you should ask, can this be reviewed? When can it be reviewed? What does this mean? So that you understand what you are signing off on. In other instances, they can put a loading. They'll say 100% on the premium. They'll put a loading on your premium loading on the insurance cover. It could be maybe you drink XYZ number of alcohol drinks, and for them they consider X number of drinks as standard, so they'll put a loading on your insurance cover. Therefore, you should also ask as well, when can this be reviewed? Because who knows, maybe in 2 years you have a change of lifestyle. You're no longer drinking XYZ number of drinks. You're now drinking only X number of drinks. Therefore, you need that to be reviewed so that it helps with the cost of your insurance that you are paying for as well. So in a nutshell, do not just sign off on insurance covers. You need to ask the terms, the conditions, read the product disclosure statements. Ensure you get your insurance reviewed yearly or when a major life event occurs. And taking up insurance is according to your personal circumstance, looking at your age, looking at your health, looking at your finances that you have. So I hope as you watched this episode today, you got a bit more regarding insurances. Until next time, share with your family and friends. It is bye for now.